Let's get something straight right now. You didn't stumble across this video by accident. You're here because something inside you recognizes what's happening. That restless energy that's been building for weeks, maybe months. That feeling like you're standing at the edge of something massive, but you can't quite see what it is yet. That's not your imagination running wild. That's not wishful thinking dressed up as hope. That's the unmistakable frequency of comeback. And if you're watching this right now, it means you're closer than you think. Most people never get to this point. They live their entire lives in that comfortable middle space between wanting something different and actually doing something about it. They talk about change. They dream about breakthrough, but they never develop the capacity to handle what comes with it. They wish for comeback but panic when life starts clearing space for what they've been asking for. But you're not most people. You've been building something inside yourself without even realizing it. Every time you chose to keep going when quitting felt easier. Every time you looked in the mirror and decided you weren't done yet. Every time you felt that pull towards something bigger than where you are right now. All of that was preparation for what's coming next. Here's what nobody tells you about comebacks. They don't announce themselves with fanfare. They don't come with a countdown timer or a warning label that says breakthrough ahead. They show up disguised as ordinary moments that feel anything but ordinary. They arrive in the space between who you've been and who you're becoming. And they always require you to let go of something you thought you needed to survive. You're in that space right now. That liminal zone where your old life is starting to feel too small, but your new one hasn't fully emerged yet. It's uncomfortable as hell because you're neither here nor there. You're in transition, which means you're in the most vulnerable and most powerful place a human being can be. Think about the last few months of your life. Haven't things been feeling different? Situations that used to drain you suddenly feeling unbearable. Conversations that used to satisfy you now leaving you empty. Goals that used to excite you now feeling hollow. People who used to understand you now seeming like they're speaking a different language. This isn't a crisis. This is clearance. Life is making space for what wants to emerge. Your comeback isn't going to look like what you expect. It's not going to be the dramatic movie moment where everything suddenly makes sense and all your struggles disappear in a flash of insight. Real comeback is messier than that. It's more like a slow motion explosion that rearranges everything you thought you knew about yourself and your place in the world. What's happening is that your capacity is expanding, not your capacity for achievement or success or external validation, but your capacity for truth, for authenticity, for holding the fullness of who you actually are without apologizing for it. And that expansion always feels like breaking before it feels like breakthrough. You've probably noticed that you're responding to things differently lately. You're saying things you never would have said before. You're walking away from situations that used to trap you in endless loops of frustration. You're setting boundaries that feel foreign but necessary. You're becoming someone who chooses differently, responds differently, shows up differently. This is your comeback in motion. It's not a destination you arrive at. It's a way of being you grow into. And the growth always happens in the dark, in the uncomfortable spaces where you can't see the full picture, but you keep moving anyway because standing still has become more painful than moving forward. Here's what nobody tells you about being on the verge of comeback. The people around you are going to notice before you do. They're going to comment on how different you seem. Some will celebrate the change. Others will resist it because your evolution forces them to confront their own stagnation. Your comeback threatens their comfort with staying the same, but their reactions aren't your responsibility anymore. You've moved beyond the need to manage other people's comfort levels with your growth. You've entered the space where your primary allegiance is to your own becoming, not to keeping everyone else happy with who you used to be. This shift in loyalty from others to yourself might feel selfish at first. You might worry that you're becoming cold or uncaring. But what's actually happening is that you're learning to love people from wholeness instead of need. You're discovering that you can care deeply without carrying the weight of everyone else's emotional reactions to your choices. You can support others without losing yourself in their problems. You can be helpful without being used. These distinctions weren't clear before because you didn't have the internal strength to hold these boundaries without collapsing into guilt or doubt. The energy you used to spend managing other people's feelings about your decisions is now available for actually living your life. The mental space you used to occupy with worry about whether you're doing enough, being enough, giving enough is now free for creativity, for vision, for possibility. And that's when things start accelerating, when you stop dispersing your energy in 1,000 different directions and start channeling it toward what actually matters to you. The universe responds with opportunities, insights, and connections that seemed impossible before. Not because you've suddenly become worthy of them, but because you've finally become available to receive them. Your comeback isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to be smaller. Before you learned to hide your intensity, dim your light, moderate your dreams to fit into spaces that were never designed to hold your full expression. What's coming next will require every ounce of strength you've been building, every lesson you've been learning, every moment of courage you've been practicing. Because comeback doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes your relationship with reality itself. You start seeing patterns everywhere, not the kind of patterns that conspiracy theorists chase or spiritual seekers obsess over, but real patterns. The way certain people show up in your life, right when you need to learn something specific. The way information finds you exactly when you're ready to receive it. The way doors open that you didn't even know existed. This isn't magical thinking. This is what happens when you're operating at the frequency of comeback. Your awareness expands to catch signals that were always there, but invisible to your previous level of consciousness. You become fluent in a language the universe has been speaking all along. The strangest part is how normal it all feels. You're not walking around having mystical experiences or seeing visions. You're just living your life, but with a clarity that cuts through noise, like a blade through silk. Decisions that used to paralyze you become obvious. Situations that used to drain your energy resolve themselves with minimal effort. Problems that used to keep you awake at night reveal solutions that seem almost embarrassingly simple. Your comeback is rewiring your nervous system. Where you used to react with anxiety, you now respond with curiosity. Where you used to contract with fear, you now expand with possibility. Where you used to seek control, you now trust the process. This isn't because you've become fearless. It's because you've developed a different relationship with uncertainty. Fear is still there, but it's no longer in the driver's seat. It's become information instead of instruction. When fear shows up, you don't run from it or fight it. You listen to what it's trying to tell you, and then make your decision from a deeper place. This is mastery, and mastery always looks effortless from the outside, even though it required everything you had to develop. People are going to start asking you what's different. They'll want to know what you're doing, what you're reading, what program you're following, and you're going to struggle to give them an answer because comeback can't be packaged into a system or reduced to a set of steps. It's not something you do. It's something you become through the accumulated weight of 1,000 small choices to show up authentically in moments when authenticity felt impossible. Your comeback is making you dangerous in the best possible way. Dangerous to systems that require your compliance. Dangerous to relationships that depend on your dysfunction. Dangerous to industries that profit from your insecurity. You're becoming someone who can't be controlled, manipulated, or convinced to betray themselves for the comfort of others. This danger isn't aggressive or confrontational. It's the quiet danger of someone who knows their worth without needing to defend it. Someone who makes choices from alignment without needing to justify them to people who wouldn't understand anyway. Someone who speaks truth without needing to prove it. The old you would have felt guilty about this shift. The old you would have tried to make everyone comfortable with your evolution. But the person you're becoming understands that your job isn't to make your growth palatable to people who are invested in your limitations. Your job is to honor what's trying to emerge through you, and what's trying to emerge is bigger than you imagined. Not bigger in terms of fame or recognition or external achievement, but bigger in terms of impact, in terms of the ripple effects your authenticity creates in the world, in terms of the permission you give others simply by being yourself without apology. Your comeback is turning you into a catalyst, not because you're trying to change anyone, but because change happens naturally in the presence of someone who has stopped pretending. Your comfort with your own truth gives others permission to examine their own lies. Your peace with uncertainty helps others relax their grip on control. Your willingness to be disliked for being real inspires others to stop performing for approval. This is why comeback feels so solitary. You're not just changing your own life. You're disrupting the entire ecosystem of relationships, expectations, and agreements that were built around the person you used to be. Some people will evolve with you. Others will fall away because they were only ever connected to the version of you that no longer exists. Both outcomes are perfect for what's trying to emerge. The timing of your comeback isn't random. It's arriving now because you finally developed the internal resources to handle what comes with it. The challenges, the opportunities, the responsibilities, the freedom. All of it requires a level of emotional maturity and spiritual strength that you didn't have before. You had to earn this capacity through experience, through failure, through getting back up, when staying down would have been easier. Your comeback is about to reveal just how much power you've been giving away without realizing it. Power to other people's opinions, power to circumstances beyond your control, power to fears that exist only in your imagination. As you reclaim this scattered energy, you're going to discover reserves of strength you forgot you had. This reclamation process isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it feels like taking inventory of a life you barely recognize as your own. Sometimes it means admitting that you've been sleepwalking through experiences that deserved your full presence. Sometimes it means grieving the time you lost to patterns that kept you small. But on the other side of that grief is something unprecedented, a version of yourself that doesn't just survive challenges, but transforms them into opportunities, that doesn't just endure difficulty, but alchemizes it into wisdom, that doesn't just get through life, but creates life wherever they go. The exhaustion you've been feeling lately isn't fatigue, it's transformation. Your system is upgrading itself, rewiring old pathways, creating new neural networks that can handle the frequency you're stepping into. This process takes enormous energy, which is why you've been so tired, even when you haven't been doing anything physically demanding. But that exhaustion is beginning to shift into something else, a different kind of energy that doesn't come from caffeine or motivation or external circumstances. It comes from alignment, from finally moving in the direction your soul has been pointing toward all along. It's the energy of someone who has stopped fighting themselves and started working with their own nature. This new energy doesn't burn out because it's not being forced. It doesn't need constant maintenance because it's sourced from something deeper than willpower. It's the energy of someone who has found their frequency and learned to broadcast it consistently, regardless of what's happening around them. Your comeback isn't just personal, it's generational. The patterns you're breaking, the cycles you're interrupting, the healing you're doing, it doesn't just affect you, it ripples backward through your lineage and forward through your legacy. You're not just changing your own life, you're changing the trajectory of everyone connected to you. This is why the resistance has been so intense. This is why the old patterns have been fighting so hard to maintain their grip. They know what's at stake. They know that once you fully step into who you're becoming, there's no going back to who you used to be, to be. There's no going back to who you use. So if you're here, if these words have been landing differently than they would have months ago, you already know what I know. This isn't just another video you clicked on. This is confirmation of something that's been building inside you for longer than you realize. Your comeback isn't coming. It's here. It's been here, waiting patiently for you to stop looking for it everywhere else and recognize that it was never separate from who you are. The restlessness you've been feeling, the sense that everything is about to shift, the strange mix of excitement and terror that keeps you up at night. That's not the prelude to comeback. That is comeback. The discomfort of outgrowing your old life, the uncertainty of not knowing exactly what comes next. All of it is your comeback happening in real time. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to figure out all the details. The person you're becoming has been knocking at the door of your consciousness, and they're not going to wait forever. Your moment is now, not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel completely prepared, but now. Because people who experience real comeback don't wait for perfect timing. They create perfect timing by finally deciding to trust what they've always known was true.